And I'm back with what I believe now is my 10th video, and ready to play some more. Definitely have done some more skilling up. Definitely some more entries here in the skill history. Got some more level 3s knocked out too with survey, mechanics, and gunnery, which were some prerequisites for some other skills and just generally important skills. At least the gunnery and mechanics are important. Survey will be important if I decide to use this tune to do some exploration type stuff, which is definitely something I'm considering. It's not something I did a lot of, uh, even with my previous character, so it'd be fun to do a new thing with a new character. Also, purchased some new skills, about 700,000 ISK worth, I believe. If we actually check out my wallet and go into my journal, from here to about here, I believe is pretty much all skill book. So I went from about a mil and a half. I'm back down to below 800,000 thanks to the new skills. But it's important to keep that queue going, especially with these level ones, which in a very short amount of time you can either improve yourself a lot or gain new abilities or other similar things. Also added Galente Frigate, which I'm trying to get to level 3. That's going to allow me to fly the Galente Industrial. I could have just started training for Caldari Industrial, which I believe is the Badger, but the Iteron, which is the Galente's class of Industrial, does have the largest capacity of all Industrials, definitely making it the most popular. Industrials are ships that carry lots of stuff. They do nothing else well. They have no tank. They have little to no weaponry. They're slow. They take forever to warp, but they carry a lot of stuff. A Industrial 5, Galente Industrial 5 ship, the Iteron 5, with just expanded cargo holds, can carry 27,000, I think like 800, just about a full jet can. And when you start rigging it, you can get it to over 30,000 capacity. Um, with a relatively inexpensive ship. The ship plus the modules plus the rigs, you're still looking at less than, 50, 60 million ISK and only a couple weeks of training, as opposed to your next real option would be something like a freighter, which now you're looking at spending a billion ISK on the ship, um, and over a month of training for a ship that can then carry even more. I think about 900,000 meters cubed is what you're looking at for the freighters, and they're even slower still. But for a short amount of training, even just a Galente 3 with some Tech 1 expanded cargo holds is going to be really useful if I want to do some jet can mining, some trading, or if I just want to move to a new station, want to be able to carry all my stuff in one trip. Um, and something else I wanted to show, I now qualify for a certificate. So if we go into our certification planner, which I have here, we see this new icon next to the core fitting cert. I could just claim all certificates and anything I qualify for will be claimed, or I can just do them one at a time, and I only have the one for now. So now I get the checkbox next to core fitting. So in my core competency, I now have some progress on getting my core competency. A lot of the others are pretty far along. Um, for instance, core navigation, all I need is a single point in evasive maneuvering, which, going to level 2 won't be more than an hour or two training, which is in my queue right now. These aren't that useful. If we go into my permissions, I do have the option to set this as public, so now people can see that I have the core fitting basic certificate. Um, I'd imagine, especially for a newer character, maybe certain corps that focus on new players might ask that you have a few basic certificates before joining their corp, just to show that you can contribute, whether it be to mining or mission running or whatever it is that corp does. Not a whole lot of PvP corps really focusing on new players, so usually at the higher end, you're not probably going to see a lot of corps looking for that. If they're going to be worried about what skills you have, they're probably going to ask for a at least limited API key to see exactly what skills you have and to make sure that you'll fit into their gangs and can do whatever they're doing. Um, I've also gotten my standing with the State War Academy up, so if I go into the Agent Finder under People and Places, I now do have some level 2 agents available to me. Dropping these agents and that are at this station, these profession agents, and going to the level 2 agents and just running missions for them probably would make me some ISK a little faster, even with the ship and skill book rewards that they're giving me. But I'm going to go ahead and stick with it. I really do want to get that whole new player experience, and I'm going to, I think, get that better by sticking with these missions. And I really don't want to run State War Academy missions. They're all distribution agents, all the way up through level 4. Um, and don't think they have a level 5? No. Um, Distribution agents are going to either have you going and buying stuff and bringing it back to them, or they're going to give you stuff to haul different places. Really, really boring stuff. If you're going to get into hauling and you want to do that, find your own routes with goods on the market. You're going to make more money and have a little more challenge in that you'll be playing the market in addition to doing the hauling, so at least there's some challenge in there. Just having somebody to tell you to warp someplace and warping there isn't exactly a good time in my opinion. I probably will switch over to the Caldari Navy for a corporation when I do start to run some missions for agents. Um, they're going to have lots and lots of security agents, as we can see here. Security agents, level 4 missions, can be a very popular, good, safe source of ISK. We can see we can do these missions right in point 0.8, point 0.6, point 0.9, high sec systems, not a lot of risk. Um, there are low sec uh, level 4 agents, and I believe they will pay more. But now you're not going to be able to use as fancy a ship, perhaps. Ideally, I would want to get maybe into, say, a Caldari Navy Raven, which is a 500 million ISK ship. You're probably looking at a billion ISK once you fit it, but it could run through level 4 missions pretty easily, pretty quickly, and could be a very nice ISK earner that could then fund things like PvP or capital ship skill book training and all of the other things that can get quite expensive. But let's go ahead and knock out a mission. I believe this is going to be my 10th PvP mission, so my final, or not PvP, combat mission, my 10th combat mission from this agent. Or no, that's right, I've already run my 10th. This is going to be my first with the advanced combat agent. And it's going to be pretty simple, go to the spot, kill everything there. Standard type mission. And so we'll warp out to the dead space. Still haven't completed these last couple agent missions from my industry and business agents, I believe. I might go ahead and knock those out soon, get those closed out. This mission did have a very low payout, so I'm betting it's going to be a very simple, probably just a few ships. I have also made some good progress towards getting in a cruiser, although I wouldn't be able to fly any cruisers very well. I am pretty close to heavy missiles. I can already use medium shield boosters, and the cruiser skill is not too far away. I've got Frigate 4 already lined up in my queue. And definitely not much of a challenge so far. And it looks like it's complete. At the early levels, there can definitely be some repetition, especially with the way that I'm playing and trying to knock out all of these agent missions. Of course, there really is a huge variety of tasks that I could go and do right now to break up the monotony. In fact, I think it's time to go do a bit of ratting after I turn in this mission. And I think I'm going to go ahead before I head out, make sure I've got plenty of ammo in my cargo hold. 106 charges, probably enough, but they do not take up a lot of space, so we'll go ahead and drop another 300 in there. Now, ratting is pretty simple. Rats will appear primarily in asteroid belts. Periodically, they will spawn on gates or outside of stations at various ranges, but for the most part, they're going to be in the various asteroid belts in the system. Now, this is a very full system, 200 people, all pretty new, so a lot of them probably focused on things like ratting, and only 4 asteroid belts, which is definitely on the smaller side. So this would be a horrible system for ratting, just too much competition. So let's go ahead and move one system over. The security status of the system definitely is going to have a huge impact on what systems we can rat in. I would bet if I took this poorly fitted frigate flown by a toon with very poor skills, I probably would not be able to handle the rats in a point 0.5 at all. They would make short work of me. A 1.0, a point 0.9, I'm thinking I'm going to have no problem. Point 0.8, point 0.7 probably would become a bit more challenging. But even within an individual system, you're not going to get all identical spawns. There's definitely going to be some variance to it. So just because you're able to knock out the first spawn that you come across in a system, don't expect necessarily all of them to be of the same ease. They could get suddenly harder. Of course, as long as I stay in ISEC, I'm not going to have to worry about any players uh, cause me problems. Now we can see this system much better, probably a good 15 asteroid belts plus here, and only 74 people in system, so lots more asteroid belts, far fewer people. We also have less players still in the new player corporation, which means not all of these are going to be new players, which means we might have some people more likely playing on the market, mining, doing things that they're ignoring the rats, or at least we can hope. So we'll just go ahead and warp to the first asteroid belt. Now, if nobody's been in a lot of these asteroid belts, there's a very high likelihood they'll be empty. Rats generally won't spawn if an asteroid belt hasn't seen anybody in a while. So I have found that a lot of the time, my first time through a system, you're more likely to see empty belts. We see there is an Iteron, a player flying an Iteron, which is one of those hauling ships I was talking about earlier. He's likely Actually, I don't see a jet can, so it looks like he was just mining in his Iteron. It does have one high slot, so you could AFK mine in it. So just start hitting a rock with a laser, come back an hour later, and it'll be full. You're not going to make a lot of money doing that way, and there's definitely some risk of players finding various ways to screw with you. Um, but that appears to be what he was doing. Most of these belts do appear mined out, so there are a lot of miners in here. Just a handful of asteroid belts around. They might just be loading slowly because there is still some dense feldspar in here, which it's not likely for miners to have left that behind. Veldspar, you'll see a lot of people, maybe in older forum posts, using it to describe the low value of high-sec mining. But recently, there's been some changes in game mechanics, mostly in what were called the drone regions, that has caused tritanium, the most commonly used mineral in production and the lowest value one, to greatly increase in cost. We see another miner here. He's in a Hulk, which is a high-end Tech 2 mining barge. Has caused tritanium to become very, or at least much more valuable. And Veldspar is made entirely of tritanium, so when tritanium's value tripled, so did Veldspar's value. So suddenly high-sec mining became much more profitable. That Hulk right there, especially if he has another character hauling form, could probably be making 30 million ISK an hour without too much difficulty and with relatively little risk. Here we can see a couple of Ospreys and a Retriever with their associated cargo containers that they're jet can mining into. Now we could sneak up, steal some ore out of that can, and run away with little consequence, but we won't do that. We wouldn't fit very much, and they may have some ability to deal some damage, and to be honest, I'm just not in the mood to screw with miners right now. So what they're going to do is they're just going to have these three characters all mine. Actually, the Retriever looks like he's separate, so it might just be that these two Ospreys are together, or at least near each other. Or it might just be three independent miners all mining into their own jet cans. And they may either have, one of them may occasionally switch to a hauling ship, or there may be a fourth toon who's currently back in station in a hauler, who will handle moving all the ore for them from the asteroid belt to the station. And no luck so far on our ratting. We're in 6 belt 4 now, so we'll move to 6 belt 5. Now, asteroid belts do deteriorate. Each individual asteroid only has so much ore in it. As people mine it away, they do begin to disappear. Um, they respawn at different intervals and in different quantities in different systems. Here we see a miner with some mining drones helping him out. He's in an Osprey, which is a Caldari cruiser specializing in mining. Looks like he's pulled his drones in. He may have seen me come into system and got a bit suspicious, got ready to run away if necessary. That's actually a pretty prudent thing to do, shows that he's actually paying some attention to what's going on in his belt. There are plenty of players who simply don't like high-sec mining and are more than happy to do their best to blow up high-sec miners given the chance, even if it means sacrificing themselves. Well, I really want to kill at least one rat before this video ends. It is possible, perhaps they don't even spawn in really high-sec systems. Perhaps I was mistaken. Well, we see this is the process for ratting, is simply going belt to belt, hoping you find some NPCs to blow up, even though it doesn't always work out very well. Usually you're hoping to find one at least every few belts. After that, it's no different than when I was engaging the red NPCs inside of a mission. Target, blow them up. In this case, after blowing them up, their I would be more prone to loot them. There's going to be a much higher likelihood of them having valuables inside their wrecks. I could have fit a salvager if I wanted to drop a weapon and then salvaged their wrecks, which can be profitable. Um, but other than that, there isn't too much to it. Oh, and the bounties, of course, will be higher, which is another reason to be ratting, not just the loot that you'll be picking up, which has value, but also the uh, bounties that you'll be getting from these rats. But that really is all that's to it. So it is possible maybe rats don't spawn in point 0.9 and above. I can't say I've tried ratting in such high security anytime recently. Um, it really doesn't take too long, maybe a few months, to train up a ship that could rat in any space, even the lowest of true second 0-0 assault frigs, although they'll take a long time to take down a 0-0 rat. If properly fit and if you're up against the right type of rats, an assault frigate can absolutely take out uh, 0-0 rats that have over a million ISK bounty. I've definitely done that as a newer player who had only had a few months of experience going out before I went out to 0-0, and that was a very profitable way for me to fund my PvP and skilling up efforts and ship buying efforts. But I think this is a good stopping point for a video. It looks like my ratting expedition was not successful, unfortunately, but I'm going to continue on with my new combat mission agent, see what else he has for me, and then maybe once I get a little later into his missions and maybe the combat will be a little more exciting, it'll be time for my next video. I hope to see you then.